Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Satyaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swamin Nidhi Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hemanga Divya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. The nectar of instruction, Updeshamrit, verse number 9. वैकुण्ठजज्जनितवरा मधुपुरि तत्रापि रासोत्सवात् वृन्दारण्यं उदारपाणिरमणात् तत्रापि गोवर्धनः राधाकुण्डं इहापि गोकुलपते प्रेमामृताप्लावना कुर्यादस्य विराजतो गिरितटे सेवां विवेकी न कः सेवां विवेकी न कः. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura, Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kunda stands supreme, for it is overflooded with ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan? So here glories of Dham, the abode of Dham, has explained. In the purport, Prabhupada says the spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of Supreme Personality of a Godhead. And it is most exalted region. The spiritual world is naturally superior to material world. However, Mathura and the adjoining areas, although appearing in the material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world because the Supreme Personality of a Godhead himself appeared at Mathura. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because the presence of the 12 forests, Dwadashavana, such as Talvan, Madhuvan, and Bahulavan, which are famous for the various pastimes of the Lord. Thus, the interior Vrindavan forest is considered superior to Mathura, but superior to this forest is the divine Govardhan hill, because Krishna lifted Govardhan hill like an umbrella, raising it with his lotus like beautiful hand to protect his associates, the denizens of Raja, from the torrential rains sent by angry Indra, king of the demigods. It is also at Govardhan hill that Krishna tends the cows with his cowherd friends. And there also he had his ranches with his most beloved Sri Radha and engaged in the loving pastimes with her. Radha Kund at the foot of Govardhan hill is superior to all because it is there that love of Krishna overflows. Advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radha Kund because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani, Rati Vilas. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it is stated that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited the area of a Brajabhumi, he could not at first find the location of Radhakund. This means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually searching for the exact location for Radhakund. Finally, he found the holy spot. And there was a small pond there. He took his bath in that small pond and told his devotees that the actual Radhakund was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed first by the six Goswamis such as Rupa and Raghunath Das. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radhakund there. Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radhakund because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who then would give up Radhakund and try to reside elsewhere? No person with a transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radhakund, however, cannot be realized by other Vaishnava Sampradayas, nor can person interested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understands the spiritual importance and divine nature of Radhakund. Thus, Radhakund is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas as the followers of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll go for the next verse, where he explains the different kinds of sadhakas and the devotees. He says that karmibhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yuyur jnanaistah tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti paramaha premaika nishthastatah tebhyastata pashupal pankaj drusha tabhyo api saradhika preshthātvada iyam tadiyasharasi tam nashrayet kaha kritihi. In the Shastra, it is said that all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life, is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such a people who are advanced in knowledge, called as Ajnanis, one who is practically liberated by the virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attended prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. more dear to Krishna, her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as his most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with the ecstatic devotional feelings? Aprakrita bhava. Render loving service to divine couple Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakalya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kunda are the most fortunate people in the universe. Hmm. So, in the text number 9, the glory of Radha Kund has explained. And now, the person who performs his devotional service there, he is considered as most fortunate. Why is it so? Very nicely, Prabhupada explains that thing in this purport. He says, at the present moment, almost everyone is engaged in some kind of a fruitive activity. Those who are desirous of gaining material profits by working are called karmis or fruitive workers. All living entities within this material world have come under the spell of Maya. And this is described in the Vishnu Puran. Vishnu Shaktis para proktaha kshetrakhya tatha para avidya karma sadnyanam tritiya shakti rishyate. Sages have divided the energies of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead into three categories, namely the spiritual energy, marginal energy, and material energy. The material energy is considered to be third class energy, Tritiya Shakti. Those living beings within the jurisdiction of the material energy sometimes engage themselves like dogs and hogs in working very hard simply for sense gratification. However, in this life or after executing pious activities in the next life, some karmis become strongly attached to performing various kinds of sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. Thus, on the strength of their pious merit, they are elevated to heavenly planets. Actually, those who perform sacrifices strictly according to the Vedic injunctions are elevated to the moon and the planets above the moon, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9 chapter, text number 21. Kshine punya martalokam vishanti. After exhausting the results of their so-called pious activities, they again return to the earth, which is called Martyaloka, the place of death. Although such a person may be elevated to the heavenly planets by their pious activities, and although they may enjoy life there for many thousands of years, they nonetheless must return to this planet when the results of their pious activities are exhausted. So here we can get clear understanding about if someone takes shelter of the Karma Kanda part of the Vedas, he may perform wonderful activities as explained in the scriptures and may go to the heavenly planets. But again, it is said that Kshinya Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. Because of this Karma Kanda, they get some pious credit, and on the basis of those pious credit, they go to the heavenly planets. Maybe moon planet, Mars planet, whichever, the desire they desire. So according to the uh, desire they want to get fulfilled. But what happens? Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravtina Arjuna. That's the principle of this material world, that you may take birth even in the Brahma Loka, you have to come back again. But where you have to come back? You have to come back to this earthly planet, because here only you can perform new karma. There you won't get any other karma reaction. Those are like whatever credits you have, you have to burn it, exhaust it there. You can't build up new credits there. If you have to build new credit, you have to come to this Bharat Varshas, especially because this earthly planet is considered as a tapoloka or tapobhumi actually, where you can perform austerities and get the credits by which you can go to the heavenly planets or do sinful activities and lower yourself and take birth in the animal kingdom. So this is the place where you have to perform activities. And then Prabhupada says this is the position of all karmis, including those who act piously or those who act impiously. On this planet, we find many businessmen, politicians, and others who are simply interested in material happiness. They attempt to earn money by all means, not considering whether such a means are pious or impious. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, it is clearly explains, even very honestly you work and earn money, there are 15 anarthas, they come along with that. Then just try to understand, if someone gets that money through illegal means, how much karma that he is creating for himself. That's why it's called Dravya Mulani Papani. The money itself is the root of sins. So one has to be very careful. And that's why it is said in Dharma Sindhu that one should purify dhana through dana. Danat shuddhate dhanam. If you give charity, then that purifies that dhana or wealth, whatever you have. And dana means what? Datva nashyati sarva papani iti danam kathyate. By donating or by giving it away, it burns all your sins. So whatever one collects through any means, it should be purified. And especially the karmis was gross materialist. And there are some vikarmis who act without guidance of Vedic knowledge. Those who act on the basis of Vedic knowledge perform sacrifices for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu and to receive benedictions from him. In this way, they are elevated to the higher planetary system. Such a karmis are superior to vikarmis, for they are faithfully to the directions of the Vedas and are certainly dear to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyam. In whatever way one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. If someone goes for some material purpose to the Lord, then he gives only material things to him. Krishna is so kind that he fulfills the desires of karmis, gyanis, not to speak of the bhaktas. Although the karmis are sometimes elevated to higher planetary systems, as long as they remain attached to fruitive activities, they must accept new material bodies after death. If one acts piously, he can attain a new body among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, or he may attain some other position in which he can enjoy a higher standards of material happiness. On the other hand, those who are engaged in impious activities are degraded and take birth as animals, trees, and plants. Thus, those fruitive actors who do not care for the Vedic directions, whom we call as the Vikarmis, are not appreciated by learned saintly persons, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, text number 4. Nunam Matta kurute vikarma yadyindriya pritaya aprunoti na sadhu manne yatatmano ayam asan api kleshada asadeha. Materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs simply for sense gratification are actually mad. They simply perform all kinds of abominable activities simply for sense gratification. Materialistic activities are not at all worthy of an intelligent man, for as a result of such activities, one gets a material body which is full of misery. The purpose of human life is to get out of the threefold miserable conditions which are concomitant with material existence. Unfortunately, fruitive workers are mad to earn money and acquire temporary material comforts by all means. Therefore, they risk being degraded to the lower species of life. Materialists foolishly make many plans to become happy in this material world. They do not stop to consider that they will live only for a certain number of years, out of which they must spend a major portion acquiring money for sense gratification. Ultimately, such activities end in death. Materialists do not consider that after giving up the body, they may become embodied by lower animals, plants, or trees. Thus, all their activities simply defeat the purpose of life. Not only are they born ignorant, but they act on the platform of ignorance, thinking that they are getting material benefits in the shape of skyscrapers, buildings, big cars, honorable position, and so on. The materialists do not know that in the next life they will be degraded and that all their activities simply serve as a parabhava, their defeat. This is the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, text number 5, where Rishabdev is giving his teachings to his son. Parabhavastad jato yavan jitnyasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastava idam mano vai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. Because whatever you do for the satisfaction of material desire, that creates only bondage, nothing else. So one should therefore be eager to understand the science of the soul, Atma Tattva. Unless one comes to the platform of Atma Tattva, by which one understands that the soul and not the body is oneself, one remains on the platform of ignorance. Out of thousands and even millions of ignorant people who are wasting their time simply gratifying their senses, one may come to the platform of knowledge and understand higher values of life. Such a person is called Jnani. The Jnani knows the fruitive activities will bind him to material existence and cause him to transmigrate from one kind of a body to another, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam by the term Sharira Bandha, bound to bodily existence. As long as one maintains any conception of sense enjoyment, his mind will be absorbed in karma, fruitive activity, and this will oblige him to transmigrate from one body to another body. So Prabhupada has already explained about the karma yoga, about the karma kanda and the karmis. Now he's explaining about the jnanis. Thus, a jnani is considered superior to karmi because he at least refrains from the blind activities of sense enjoyment. This is the verdict of Supreme Personality of a Godhead. However, although a jnani may be liberated from the ignorance of the karmis, Unless he comes to the platform of devotional service, he is still considered to be in ignorance, avidya. Although one may be accepted as a jnani or one advanced in the knowledge, his knowledge is considered impure because he has no information of a devotional service and thus neglects the direct worship of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. There's a nice verse about this in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. Jnane prayasa udapasanamanti eva ye sanvim viparita viparida patanti yadha anadrita yushmada padangre. Someone may take shelter of the knowledge, but he negates everything and he only considers about the Parabrahman as a Nirvishesh Nirakar, and he disrespect their lordship. Anadrata Yushmada Padangre, Patantyada, he disrespect the shelter of their lordship, and Patantyada, he falls down in this material world. When a Gyani takes to devotional service, he rapidly becomes superior to an ordinary Gyani. Such an advanced person is described as Jnana Vimukta Bhakti Parama. How a Jnani takes to devotional service is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text number 19, wherein Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapatyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Actually, a person is wise when he surrenders unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. But such a Mahatma, great soul, is very rare. After taking to devotional service under the regular principles, a person may come to the platform of a spontaneous love of Godhead. Following in footsteps of a great devotees like a Narada and Sanak Sanatan, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead then recognizes him to be superior. The devotees who have developed love of Godhead are certainly in an exalted position. So now Prabhupada is coming to explain the position of devotees. He explained about karmis and their ignorance, jnanis and their ignorance, and how they can take devotional service and get rid of that ignorance. And now he is explaining about the devotees. Of all these devotees, the gopis are recognized as the superior because they do not know anything other than satisfying Krishna. Matta parad na anyate janati. They don't know other than me. That's the quality of devotees. Nor do the gopis expect any returns from Krishna. Indeed, sometimes Krishna puts them into extreme suffering by separating himself from them. Nonetheless, they cannot forget Krishna. When Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura, the gopis became most dejected and spent the rest of their lives simply crying in a separation from Krishna. This means that, in one sense, they were never actually separated from Krishna. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with him. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna in separation, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, of all the devotees who have developed unalloyed devotional love for Krishna, the gopis are most exalted. And out of all these exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati Radharani. Indeed, even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he took her position and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand her transcendental feelings. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami gradually concludes that Srimati Radharani is the most exalted devotee of Krishna and that her Kunda, Sri Radha Kunda, is the most exalted place. This is verified by a verse from Padma Puran as quoted in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita. यथा राधा प्रिया विष्णोस्तस्य कुण्डं प्रियं तथा सर्वगोपीषु सई सेवैका विष्णोरत्यन्तवल्लभा. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna, so her bathing place Radha Kund is equally dear to Krishna. Among all the gopis, she alone stands supreme as Lord's most beloved. Therefore, everyone interested in a Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radha Kund and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. This is the conclusion of Rupa Goswami in the ninth verse of Upadeshamrita. So here very clearly explain that the highest stage, if someone is in this material world, then he will be at Radha Kund and performing his devotional service. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 16, the purport Prabhupada says, it is thus concluded that even a neophyte devotee is superior to the karmis and gyanis because he has a full faith in chanting the holy name of Lord. A karmi or a gyani, regardless of his greatness, has no faith in Lord Vishnu, his holy name, or his devotional service. One may be advanced religiously, but if he is not trained in devotional service, he has very little credit on the transcendental platform. Even a neophyte devotee engaged in the deity worship is in accordance with the regulations set forth by the spiritual master, is in a position superior to that of the fruitive worker and speculative philosopher. See, that's the glory of taking up of devotional service. Because someone who has taken this devotion, we have seen in the last purport that after many, many lifetimes in the different species of life, one get a chance to have this human form of life. Nruhadeha adyam sulabham, durlabham, sudurlabham. This human form of a life is very, very rare. And in that life, if you get the mercy of pure devotee and you get a chance to render devotional service to the Lord, is the highest achievement actually, as compared to karmis and gyanis. And on top of that, if someone's really get in contact with a Mahabhagavata, very exalted devotee who is like a 24/7 engaged in the service of the Lord, then he's the most fortunate person. And here, the conclusion that Rupa Goswami has given of his teachings, that whoever is interested in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radhakund and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. And Prabhupada says, Gopis are known for their Vipralamba bhav. Because sometimes when you are in front of some person, you can render service, and he goes. You can render service as long as you are with him. But in Vipralamba, when you are separated from him, 24 hours, you will think about that person. That's why it is that thing is considered, the Vipralamba is considered as a most exalted bhava. So in these two verses, the glories of Radhakund as compared to the abodes of the Lord in a different planets, and the perfection of life is taking shelter of Radhakund and executing devotional service there. That has wonderfully explained in these two verses. So any question, any comment regarding this?
Prabhuji, Can devotees take bath in Radha Kund?
Yeah, why not?
It's not an offense.
It's not an offense. You taking bath means taking shelter of Radha Kund. So when you take shelter, you do it jokingly or seriously?
Seriously.
So if you, because it is considered as the molten water form of Srimati Radharani. So when you go to DT room, you go with the awe and reverence. Na? If you try to touch some paraphernalia of the DT room only, you keep yourself so pure and you are so conscious. With that same consciousness, if you take bath in Radhakund, you will not the same person. You will change. So that's why at least once in a year one should go and take bath, so that you should not be the same what you were in the last year. That will change at least. That will bring your purity to become more serious and conscious in devotional service. Prabhupada, in the beginning, he said, don't take bath because they were jumping and diving and doing all nonsense. Water, they were doing like what they call? Uh, they were playing in the water. You can't play in that water. Respectfully, you should go, take a 3 dips and come back. Stay there and pray, offer some prayers. That's always glorious. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.